everyone, to our Groundskeeper Chat series. I am your host, Meg Kruger, and I think we're about 3 episodes in here, and I've failed to introduce my co-host this entire time, Mr. Christopher Bell. I'm not even sure I let you get a question in yet.
You might have, but you definitely have not introduced me. But I won't take it personally this time.
It's amazing I don't get fired every other day, truly. It's terrible. And for our 3rd episode, we are joined by Mr. Tyler Carr from the Ohio State University. Do you go by doctor, or is it just PhD?
It depends on who you ask.
Okay.
If it's my fiance, I go by doctor. No, she also has a PhD. So,
okay, amazing.
I was the first one to get the PhD, so
Yep.
I had to for a period of time there. I went by doctor.
Only doctor.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a weird thing when you go in and you just have a master's degree, but you talk to students and they want you to go by doctor, and it's just like, can you call me Tyler for a little while?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Carr.
Yeah, Mr. Carr, yeah.
I love it. Well, I feel like when we first sat down, I was like, well, it's nice to meet you. And you were like, oh, we've met. And I felt like this was a long time coming, but apparently the stones were already in place. Our foundation has already been built. Because we both got that Ohio flavor. Are you born and raised?
No, I'm from Arkansas.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm born and raised just south of Little Rock.
Okay.
Did my undergrad and master's at the University of Arkansas.
Okay.
I did live in Ohio for a summer. I interned at the Reds back in 2016 for Steve Lord.
Where did you get to be under Stephen Lord? Was that his last season?
No, I think he had 2 more years after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but you got to be with the Christo Wallace, that crew culture.
So that would have been Robbie and Derek and Steve.
Okay.
So Christo, that was just before Robbie left.
Okay.
And then he came back. Yeah.
Nice. Well, yeah, and Christo's not back. He left the industry for a little bit, and now he's back.
Everybody ends up back at Old Great American Ballpark.
I agree. I love it. Well, what I'm really excited to hear is your turf origin story.
Okay.
Like, how did this come on your radar? In Little Rock, Arkansas, when did this become like, oh, I'm going to pursue this as a career?
Yeah, so my dad was a high school baseball coach.
Okay.
And we grew up, I would say it's got to be a mile or less from the high school.
Okay.
And my town was only had 5,000 people or so. So when you're the high school baseball coach at a small town, you're the groundskeeper.
Yep.
And so we would go over to the field on weekends or in the afternoons to either turn on irrigation, because we didn't have an automated irrigation system, or to edge the field. And I just fell in love with it.
Yeah.
So I think by the time I was a sophomore or junior in high school, I would spend a lot of time during the summer going out to the field and doing things on my own.
I love it.
When I was a senior, my dad even joked that I would spend more time working on the field than practicing. Nice. On it.
Well, that's why you're on this side of the industry.
Yeah, that's true. I like anybody, my mom wanted me to be a doctor. Mm-hmm.
And look at that, self-fulfilling prophecy.
But she wanted me to be a doctor that cut people open for a living.
Yeah.
I was a biology major for half a semester.
Okay.
And then I moved over to the dark side.
I love it.
Turf. So haven't looked back.
And when you made that switch, did you initially picture yourself like working on a baseball field or doing that side of the industry?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. My first summer out of college, I worked on a golf course because I had always had interest in sports turf. But I was told you've got to see the golf side.
Yep.
And I never went back to golf.
Okay.
So I always thought I was going to work in baseball and had an opportunity to go to graduate school. So I did, and I've been in the academic realm ever since.
Okay. So, yeah, tell us, what does the landscape look now for you? Like, what is a day in the life? What are the things that have kept you on that side of the industry?
I feel like I can make a large impact. Mm-hmm. I feel like when I was working in sports turf, I was kind of limited to 2 acres.
Yep.
But I love being able to go out and interact with people throughout the state, mm-hmm. and in this stage, throughout the country, and share what we've learned from research and from other people. Mm-hmm. I feel like I don't know as much as a lot of these people do, but I can tell the stories of some of these other people.
Yep.
And that's really enjoyable.
No, I love that. That's my bread and butter. Like, I couldn't tell you anything about ryegrass or how to edge a field, but just hearing their passion for it and what they get to do day in and day out, like that fuels my fire to kind of share those stories.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think once you're in this industry and you get to work with people who are that passionate about what they do every day, I mean, I don't know a lot of people that wake up and are like, oh, I love going to work. Like, but you really find that in this industry. And I was certainly raised by my parents, like, nobody likes their job. You just do it. Like, because I, floundered a bit, like, oh, I didn't really like this or I didn't really like that in college. And they're like, you just pick something. Like, nobody likes their job. Like, and the fact that I stumbled into this and I'm surrounded by people that, like, genuinely love what they do.
Everybody in here seems to love what they do. And every place that I visit, it's infectious.
Yep.
You get that everywhere.
Yep.
And the first time I went to this event, that was really what drew me in. I think it was Denver. I don't remember what year it was. Probably 2015.
Okay.
That was the first thing I noticed. And everybody talks about how tight-knit the industry is. It's really the first thing I noticed.
Yep. Well, that's what hooked me in, I think. My first conference would have been West Palm. And I remember, like, being at the show, going to the open reception. Like, I remember telling my husband, I was like, oh, this is going to be a drag. Like, I have to be there for, like, 4 days, go at all these, like, fun functions, And when I was there, I was like, oh, wow, they're the real deal. Like, this ain't a load of bull crap.
No,
like,
no, they don't mess around.
No.
And they know how to throw a good party.
I love it. Will you be at the Pioneer Party tonight?
I will.
Okay, he'll make an appearance. Yeah. Perfect. We'll have the doctor in the room.
Nice.
And so you also have the advantage of working with what I would consider one of America's greatest people. Maybe, I don't know how closely you work with her, but I know I see some social collaboration from the two of you. Miss Pam Sherritt.
Yeah, I love Pam.
I mean, come on.
There's not enough good things to say about Pam. She really has been Ohio's sports turf expert for a really long time.
An advocate. Like, she's just been putting it on the map since day one.
My favorite thing to do is just go ride somewhere with her. We had a road trip earlier this year. We went to speak at an event together. And she's like, well, I remember stopping here. I remember going here. And there's just so much to learn.
The grassy Brit.
Yeah, the grassy Brit. Yeah, she's great. And we live pretty close to each other.
Okay.
So we should hang out more away from work. But
definitely.
Yeah, but
well, she's got her own. I think she's raising two like amazing kids, as it seems.
Sent one off to college. Yeah.
And I now want to be like a Boy Scout troop leader just from following in her footsteps. But she's also someone that is impossible to track down because she really is so passionate about this industry that like she's out there peddling our message forward every single day.
Yes, she
the
is.
Research, the advocacy, every element of it.
Yeah, especially the sports turf, natural grass, synthetic turf. She's there's a lot I can learn from her when it comes to that.
Definitely. Well, so tell me about the structure of you're with the Extension Turfgrass program, correct?
So yeah, my appointment is primarily extension. So I lead a lot of our extension efforts.
Okay.
But we have 3 or 4 other folks that play a role in our extension program.
And does that mean you're interacting with like students who are interested in the research side of things, or who do you get to work with any of the next generation?
Yeah, I do. Recently we've had a lot of students coming in on visits. So a lot of our turf ball students that we have here I know well.
Nice.
And I have a graduate student now that's working on a sports turf project.
Very cool.
She's here today, and I have a future graduate student that's also here as one of our undergrads. So that's one of the best things. It wasn't long ago I was one of those students. And so I feel like I learned a lot of things about how to help mentor students. And I want to be able to put them in good situations. I learned a lot by just being here and not necessarily going to all the classes, but everything else, getting to meet people. Because now when I walk through here, I see so many people that I know, and it's just a big happy family.
It is incredible. It really is. And so working with students and being on the academic side, I think of some of like the greats, like Andy McNitt with Penn State. Pull up my mic.
No, you're good.
Oh, I'm sorry. Every time you even do the slightest movement, I'm like, what the hell's going on over there?
Just scratching my neck.
Just breathing.
Existing?
Yes. It's such an inconvenience to me.
I'll turn around. How's that?
Thank you.
You don't have to look at me.
The worst,
Put a
truly.
wall up.
But some of those like academic greats, and really you mentioned it earlier, like the impact that you can have on the academic side. What is the research that really fuels you right now? Like where does that passion lie where you're hoping to really, create a legacy or make an impact?
So right now, my big interest is in community level sports fields. I have wide-ranging interests, but that's the work that my grad students are doing right now. I'm working on a proposal with Dr. Chase Straw.
Okay,
right now. I'm part of that.
Man, he's an academic legend.
Yeah, I'm part of that big project that he's working on. So we're really wanting to move the needle in that level, because those are the people, in my opinion, that need the most help.
Yep.
So how can we help them?
People like your dad, like if they just had working knowledge and all those things.
And the resources.
Yep.
And a lot of times they're not the decision makers. There's someone sitting in a central office that's a superintendent or an athletic director that knows nothing about turf.
Yep.
So that's where I like the extension piece.
Very cool.
Because I can take the research that we're doing.
Yep.
And kind of communicate that to not just the sports field manager, but those people that actually make those decisions.
100%.
That's that extension integration.
Well, and really ingrained in the community, and that's such a cool element of it. And I think the first person I met who was in an extension was Chrissy Seegers, and I remember she kind of like pulled back the curtain for me, and I was like, oh, all the limitless opportunities you could have in this industry to make an impact. And do you work closely with Ryan DeMay at all?
Yes, I work probably too close to Ryan DeMay. Ryan and I are good friends, and man, what a smart guy.
Dude, we talk about it all the time, like how eloquent he is, and you sit him down and you just give him a softball question and you can sit back and like just be in awe. It's wild.
If I was up for staying up late, he's like, the best time for me to talk is after the kids have gone to bed. We could talk for hours. We often meet at a local diner at about 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my gosh!
To fit in with he's a busy guy, as you know. So
well, and he's community focused. And I love that element of it really is about the small time athletes that maybe one day they'll be the big time, but really creating those memories for that time in their life right there.
Yep. And those types of memories are the ways that we can get people actually engaged in this group, this discipline too.
100%.
It's just another avenue.
Definitely. And so I wanted to touch on two more points before I let you run, and that was your session today with Dan Sandor.
Yeah.
Hopefully I said his name right.
You did.
And that was about like data-driven sports field management. Give us the quick elevator pitch on what that session was and what people could really take from it.
So the big thing is people have a lot of decisions to make.
Yep.
And there's a lot of information out there. Some of it is good. Some of it can be misleading.
Yep.
What we were trying to present is how to find good information, how science has actually given us a good background of what is good and what actually drives our decisions, and the practices that we do. Like we talked about why people apply certain pesticides.
Yep.
Well, we kind of walked through that. But anyway, and we ended up talking about how to actually adopt some of these. We talked about the adoption. You and I have just talked about this. We do a lot of stuff with research and data. We collect a lot of data. It means nothing
if people
can't apply it. And so we're just trying to show them different resources to collect, to get data, how to conduct their own research, and then how to communicate that with the non-sports field manager decision makers, the people that hold the purse strings.
Yep, explaining the why. That holding the purse strings, that's a Ryan DeMay quote.
I think I may have stolen that.
Yep, I remember him saying that. And he's all about explaining the why to the people that are making those money-moving decisions, but have no idea the science, all the wonderful things that are the backbone of this industry. And then the last question I wanted to ask you, because you guys run like a podcast or like a YouTube talk show of sorts.
Like this.
But it is cool. It's come across my radar several times. And, it creates that visibility for not only the work you're doing, but, Ohio Turfgrass as a whole. How important is that visibility? Like, it's that simple interaction, but a lot of people, don't take the time to do it. But you are someone who always does. And what kind of fueled that?
So I'm not going to take credit for it. That was there before I got there. So Dr. Ed Nangle leads that.
I love Ed. He lives in Westlake.
I do.
And I live in Westlake.
Oh, I didn't know you lived in Westlake. Yeah.
And I had no idea. I'd known him for many years, and I ran into him at the swim lesson at the rec center one morning, and I was like, "What the hell are you doing here? You live in Worcester?" And he's like, "No, I live here."
I drive a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I listen to that Groundskeeper Chat a lot.
So
he needs to be my next guest.
Yeah, he should
Seriously.
be. He should be. I think it was something that was I was told it was something that was started by Joe Rimmelspach and Todd Hicks, and then it morphed into Ed leading. But when I got there, I was like, I like listening to podcasts.
Yep.
So let's take these are short YouTube videos that we would do. I just cut the audio and threw it on a podcast. And that visibility is really important. I see people at conferences or state conferences I've never met, but they know us from
Isn't that
that.
so cool?
And it's a way to make an impact. I mean, we try all kinds of different things with written media. This video media reaches a different crowd.
100%.
It also helps us with our homeowner crowd too.
Okay.
I think majority of our folks on there are homeowners.
Very cool.
Which it's kind of hard to reach that group sometimes. So yeah, visibility is everything.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've got to get the message into the right people. And you have to do it in a multitude of different ways.
Yeah, truly. I mean, when I started, I was doing only written form, really, for Pioneer.
Yeah.
And now it's it's podcast, it's video, it's social. And we do one written form campaign a year now, just one. Because you got to reach them wherever they are.
Yeah, and I
Meet them
think
where they're at.
In one of the talks, I don't remember if it was yesterday's talk or today's talk, we had a poll question on how people prefer to receive information. And the interactive pieces are the things that are highest. The written, and I for some weird reason, I didn't expect this. Social media was low.
Yeah.
And I guess that's more of a trend that we've been seeing. But anything that is video related or short burst or interactive, they love it. And that's a good way. That's how I prefer to learn.
Yep, same. And I think somebody asked me in my session yesterday, where should I start on social media? I was like, the landscape right now is just so dicey. I can't even point in the right direction. I could say TikTok, and it could be gone in literally, 3 days?
Yeah, I think I'm seeing people that are already talking about alternatives, right?
Yeah, and so I think hopefully that trend doesn't continue to decline, because that would be my job in a sense. But I hope that we find a place, because for so long it was turf Twitter in my mind, where we had those collaborative discussions, but it really is so bogged. You have to put money behind any post that you want people to see, and it's just a shame. And I hope we find some other nook and cranny of the world where we can have those conversations.
So you're telling me you don't have the solution?
I don't yet. No, that's for sure. Yeah, MySpace, bring it back.
Yeah, what song would you put on MySpace right now?
Dude, what was your profile song?
So I grew up in a sheltered home.
Okay.
It was. If my parents listen to this, let's cut that out.
You never had it.
But I never had MySpace. I remember getting Facebook when I was younger. But no, I did not. It probably would have been Fergalicious or something. I
love it.
Nice.
I had a MySpace, and I only accessed it from my friend's house because, again, my parents were like, no MySpace for you. And I ran those top friends you would not believe how I used that to manipulate.
I would understand 100%.
Josie is moving up. Hannah is back to number 3.
He's already thinking about some real life scenarios where this is happening.
Yes, he sees it.
Got some scars, okay?
Yeah. We'll talk later.
Yeah.
Well, Tyler, thank you so much for joining us. And I think our proximity is so close. It's a no-brainer for us to do this in person one day, in Ohio.
Absolutely.
Maybe do some video content, meet the people where they are with what they want, some interactive. I mean, we should do a field day where people just come and listen to us talk.
Let's do it.
Just you. Just listen to you guys talk.
Just the 2 of us.
Yeah.
He'll be here as the AV guy.
Yeah. Hired hand.
Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you.